Hi guys, welcome back to our channel Cheeky Vlogs. I'm Subha and on this channel we figure out life together. Today I'm gonna talk about my dad's journey with colorectal cancer. I'm making this video so that you can be more aware and also prepared and also well informed about what's happening out there. எங்களுக்கு இந்த colorectal cancer when it hit my dad, it was very new to us because we have never heard about anything like this. And also a lot of learning in this process இருந்துச்சு and I thought let's educate when I have a platform, when I have a place where I can talk and let more people know. I would love to spread whatever information that I know. First thing first, my dad was diagnosed in the month of April. All he had was continuous diarrhea. அதுக்கு முன்னாடி ஒரு 1-2 months he had repeated diarrhea and whenever we went to the doctor they were like ஏதோ stomach infection தான் இருக்கும். So they just gave a bunch of antibiotics and my dad is someone who never likes visiting doctors. So அவரும் tablets சாப்பிட்டா சரியாக போயிடும், கொஞ்சம் பெட்டராக ஃபீல் பண்ணால I'm feeling better, this will like eventually get fine அப்படின்னு சொல்லி he ignored like taking it seriously. The point is my dad didn't have anything major till now, till date. இது வரைக்கும் எங்கள் அப்பாவுக்கு பெருசாக மேஜராக எதுவும் நடந்தது இல்லை. லைக் நாட் did he have any chronic illnesses லைக் டயபிட்டிஸாக இருக்கட்டும், இல்லை அந்த மாதிரி வெறும் பிபி மட்டும் இருந்துச்சு, மற்றபடி எதுவுமே இல்லை. So he took it very casually when it was just continuous diarrhea. But now that we think about it, my dad did have a very irregular bowel movement, pooping schedule. So basically, kalayila very early in the morning he used to wake up just to clear his stomach, and not only once, twice at times. And also he had back pain. Back pain is like 80% of Indians right now. But yeah, that's all he had. So we never thought it would be cancer. He was high in energy, no weight loss, so nothing. So we never, like in our wildest dreams, ever think that it was cancer. And the last doctor visit right before April, I think I went home during April. So the last doctor visit adukku munadi was in March. So and the doctor was like, if this is not getting cured in 10 days, get one colonoscopy. அந்த டாக்டர் தான் ஃபைனலி அந்த கொலனோஸ்கோப்பின்ற வார்த்தை சொன்னார். இது வந்து நான் இந்த வீடியோ கம்ப்ளீட்டாக ஒரு லேமேன் தான், நான் வந்து ஒரு டாக்டர் கிடையாது. டாக்டர் வுட் எக்ஸ்பிளைன் திஸ் மச் பெட்டர், பட் ஐ எம் ஜஸ்ட் டெல்லிங் யூ ஆஸ் அ ஃபேமிலி மெம்பர் ஆஃப் சம்மன் ஹூ வென்ட் த்ரூ கேன்சர். எனக்கு எவ்வளோ நாலேஜ் இருக்கோ நான் சொல்கிறேன். யூ கைஸ் கேன் கிளாரிஃபை இட் மோர் வித் அ டாக்டர். பட் யா, ஸோ கொலோனோஸ்கோபி இஸ் வேர் தே புட் அ டியூப் இன் and with a camera so that you can see what is happening inside the colon. Tube ஒரு பாடிக்குள்ளே போகிறோம்னாலே we feel like oh my god, it's such a huge thing, it's going to be a painful process and everybody will like tell you அந்த மாதிரி தான் இருக்கும் போது. I think there is a lot of fear involved. I think it is just mildly uncomfortable அப்படின்னு சொன்னாலே ஒரு patient would be very happy to just do the procedure-ன்னு இருக்குது. I feel like அந்த கொலோனோஸ்கோப்பி மேலே ஒரு ஃபியர் இருக்கக்கூடாதுன்னு. I'm also saying it for myself, I think. But yeah, I'm just saying that அந்த ஃபியர்னாலே my dad was like postponing it. பார்த்துக்கலாம். ஸோ எங்கள் அண்ணா போய் பார்த்து, we both stay in different cities, of course. My brother stays in Mumbai, I stay in Chennai. So my brother took him to the doctor. The doctor said in the 10 days the medicine எடுங்க, then get the colonoscopy done. He was perfectly fine except that he was having diarrhea throughout the day. Like he was pooping a lot many times. So he was eating but his appetite had gone down. Of course வயசு சரியில்லைன்னா சாப்பிடணுன்னே தோணாது. So that was what was happening. So then during April, இந்த 10 days ஆக போது எங்கள் அப்பா வந்து எதுக்கு கொலோனோஸ்கோப்பிலாம் அந்த மாத்திரையிலே சரியாகிற மாதிரி இருக்குது அப்படின்னு சொல்கிற போது my mom was like, okay, நீ வந்தால் தான் இது வேலைக்காகும், he's not listening to us அப்படின்னு சரி நான் போனேன். Then I was like, okay, let's take him to a specialist doctor. ஒரு gastroenterologist பார்த்தோம். And அங்கே போனதும் even my dad was like, just like do the colonoscopy, I'm fine, like let's just get to the root of the problem அப்படின்னு. He told us sigmoidoscopy. So colonoscopy I think goes கொஞ்சம் உள்ள deeper to a major chunk of the colon, but sigmoidoscopy is just the lower end of the colon. When the doctor did, I wanna like this video is going to be a super long video because I want to talk about a lot about how doctors approach stuff and how doctors need to be with patients and stuff like that. So in the Bhubaneswar doctor, I don't want to name him, maybe he's good with other patients, but yeah. So he did the colonoscopy procedure ange pannaru and he said that the like and the colonoscopy device is not going any further because there is a huge tumor right there. And I am someone, ரிப்போர்ட் கொடுத்தா நான் அதில் இருக்கிற ஒரு வார்த்தையும் கூகுள் பண்ணி பிரித்து மேய்ஞ்சிருவேன். That was when I realized that okay, my dad has a huge tumor and it could be cancerous. So அப்போ வந்து he gave a bunch of blood tests to be done. Tumor was pretty big, 10 centimeter long. It was blocking the colon. அதுக்கு தான் மோஷன் பாஸ் ஆக மாட்டேங்குது. So he's finding it difficult. Like மோஷன் கொஞ்சம் கொஞ்சமாக பாஸ் ஆகுது. That's why he is pooping many times a day. அந்த கொலனோஸ்கோபி டியூபே போகல, அந்த டியூபே ஒரு மெலிசான டியூப் தான், அதுவே போகல. So it was blocking almost his entire colon. The bunch of blood tests that they gave is also an indicator whether it can be cancer or not. So the doctor were not like சரி PET scan பண்ணுங்க, like CT ஸ்கேன்லாம் பண்ணுங்க, I will see what has happened and I will figure out அப்படின்னு சொல்லி அப்போ தான் he can like give a confirmative test that it's cancer. Actually biopsy பண்ணி அதை லேப் ரிசல்ட்ஸ் பார்த்து தான் கேன்சர்னு கன்ஃபர்மேட்டிவாக டெஸ்ட் கொடுத்து they'll start treating the patient. ஸோ அது வரைக்கும் they won't say that it's cancer. I think the next day we did CT scan அன்றைக்கி blood test மட்டும் கொடுத்துட்டு வந்தோம். that CEA ஒரு டெஸ்ட் இருக்கும் and it is supposed to be below 5. My dad had 100. So I for sure knew that it's a carcinogenic embryonic antigen test நினைக்கிறேன், if I'm not wrong. எல்லாமே என்னோட பிரெயின்லேருந்து தான் சொல்கிறேன். I haven't even prepared for this video. If anything, any correction is there, editல correct பண்ணிடுறேன். But yeah, so I was the first person to know that my dad had cancer and it was அது நான் எப்படி எக்ஸ்பிளைன் பண்ண, எப்படி டிஸ்கிரைப் பண்ண கூட தெரில. உலகமே இடிஞ்சு விழுற மாதிரி தான் இருந்துச்சு. ஸோ ஐ டோல்ட் மை பிரதர், ஹி வாஸ் லைக் ஐ திங்க் இட் இஸ், ஏன்னா பிகாஸ் ஐ ஷேர் த ரிசல்ட்ஸ் வித் ஹிம். மீ அண்ட் மை பிரதர் ஹாவ் அ வெரி ஸ்ட்ரேஞ்ச் yet lovely bond. I mean, I can just be straight with him about what I'm feeling. பூசி மழுப்பி எதுவும் சொல்ல தேவையில்ல. Even though we don't like talk every day or we are like not like the lovey emotional siblings kind of people, but whenever I'm going through something I can just like take this baram from me and hold it அப்படின்னு கொடுக்கலாம் அவன்கிட்ட கான்ஃபிடென்ட்டாக. he is going through his own shit. He always made me feel like he's a shoulder I can cry on அப்படின்னு. That's there. So I told my brother that I think it's cancer and today's PET CT. The next day we had to do PET CT scan. I think this all happened in Bhubaneswar. Bhubaneswar is not a major, like it is growing medically. Of course Chennai அளவுக்கு கிடையாது தான். But yeah, the main problem is நான் போய் ஒடியா பேசுகிறது and the doctors like I have an accent in Odia which is a South Indian accent because I've stayed in Chennai all my life. ஸோ அங்கே போய் பேசும்போது they of course first they'll pick on your accent rather than the importance of the topic that we are talking about. ஸோ எனக்கு சென்னைனா எல்லாமே ஈஸியாக பண்ணிடுவேன். பட் Bhubaneswar was like a challenge. But then we went ahead and then I did the PET CT scan. I told my mom to come with me. My mom also knew from my face that something is majorly bad, but she was எனக்கு அந்த நியூஸ் எப்படி எங்கள் பேரண்ட்ஸ்கிட்ட பிரேக் பண்ணவே தெரில. I am literally telling you, very few people and on this channel I am just able to comfortably talk. Even with my parents of course open up பண்ணுறது ஈஸி தான், but this is a huge thing. I didn't know how it will affect my mom mentally and I felt like I'm just a kid. எனக்கே இவ்வளோ பெரிய ரெஸ்பான்சிபிலிட்டி தரீங்க, like this is adult people shit. And I realized that I'm officially an adult then. I remember the PET CT scan அப்பா போயிருக்கும்போது தான் I like broke the news to my mother that this could be cancer. That is why they have asked us to do this அப்படின்னு. I wanted her to get prepared for it. So we also had learnt a lot of cancer stories, right? Like people getting healed and other than it. So there was hope konjam. The CT scan result, it came in 4-5 hours and the doctor was leaving for a vacation that night. So அதுக்கு முன்னாடியே பார்க்கணும்னு சொல்லி I think I was the last person and he saw the diagnosis. அவருக்கு நான் ஒரு சின்ன பொண்ணு இவள்கிட்ட நான் இப்படி பிரேக் பண்ணேன்னா அவருக்கு என்ன இதுவாக இருக்கலாம், அது அவருக்கு கஷ்டமாக இருந்திருக்கலாமா இல்லை என்னன்னு எனக்கும் தெரியல. He talked nonsense to me. Like he was talking about my profession, my age, my family. I mean, I think he was trying to understand where I'm coming from. But I felt like I already know that my dad has cancer. Like in the results நான் பார்த்துட்டு நெட்டில் சர்ச் பண்ணி it isn't looking good. All I wanted was some clarity, some straightforward answers, but ஒரு half an hour வெட்டி பேச்சு பேசினாரு. And I was like, okay, then what now? What about the results right now? And then he said, yeah, we'll give the tissue for biopsy, and I think it's cancer, but yeah, it has spread a little bit. He was very nonchalant about it. Maybe அவரும் வந்து ஆக்சுவலி இது ஒரு ஸ்டொமக் இன்ஃபெக்ஷன் தான், மெடிசன் தான் கொடுக்கணும்னு இருந்தார். But my dad was the one who said, no, let's get a colonoscopy done. So maybe he was feeling guilt, I don't know. The way he said the news to me was so not human. I don't know. I think, I'm sorry, I love doctors. I have a lot of friends who are doctors. And India, I have this major problem where doctors don't think that it's a patient deserves to know what's happening. So they just say this is a procedure. அது என்ன ப்ரொசீஜர், எது ப்ரொசீஜர், sit and explain it completely. இப்போ நான் கூகுள் வச்சுருக்கேன், நான் கூகுள் பண்ணிடுறேன். How many of them actually do that? And the patient has the right to know everything. I mean, that is a totally different topic. But yes, then he said that இந்த colon இந்த பார்ட்லேருந்து இந்த பார்ட் வரைக்கும் blockage இருக்குது. So we might have to cut the colon and put a stoma bag அப்படின்னு. So it is a very lifestyle change which dad have to process. நீங்களுமே நீங்கள் எல்லாரும் வெளில இருக்கீங்க, ஸோ வெளில கொண்டுட்டு போயிடாதீங்க. Will take care of you here itself. When I got the CT scan, I called my brother. He's like, you come, I can't break this news to the family. அம்மாட்ட சொல்லிட்டேன், but definitive inner diagnosis you tell, because I don't think I would be able to handle telling them, because I'm not able to handle myself right now. Brother flew in that night, and on the night we told the news that, and the diagnosis was that my dad had stage 4 cancer, not stage 1, not stage 2, not stage 3, but stage 4. And it had spread a bit. It has spread in his liver. It has spread all over his omentumனு ஒரு இருக்குது. அது கூட அந்த டாக்டர் சொல்ல மாட்டாரு. லைக் வாட் இஸ் ஒமெண்டம்னு வாயில் கூட வரமாட்டேங்குது அவருக்கு. And it has spread a little bit anganga, lymph nodesல. And we had to tell him that you have stage 4 cancer. Actually, my dad took it really well. He's a very positive person. He's a very hopeful person. So he was hopeful all along. And he was like, you didn't have to break. He is a person who believes that only good things happen to good people. And he was very angry with my brother that நீ எனக்கு ஸ்லோவாக சொல்லியிருக்கலாம், இல்லை ஏன் நீ why you had to break the bubble just like that அப்படின்னு. But I think it was high time that we told him that things are serious and we need to be serious about this. So I think that very next day we flew to Chennai. I feel like here I can be more of a support, and I have my own vehicle. I can take them around. There is a lot of access here, which was not in Bhubaneswar, even though we live in the city. So I thought, okay, let's just, everybody, my family was entirely okay with us coming to Chennai. So we brought my dad to Chennai. So the next big question was which hospital to go to. I live in the southern part of Chennai, and Apollo Cancer Center அப்படின்னு யோசிக்கும் போது தேனாம்பேட்டா, I think it's somewhere in the city. அங்கே போகிறதுக்கே it is like 1 hour, 1.5 hours just to go every day. So my brother recently was operated in Rela, and one of our friends was a doctor at Rela. So he said that they have good everything there. So, and Rela is pretty close by to us. So we decided to go to Rela. Rela is where my dad அவரோட என்டையர் கேர் அங்கே தான் நடந்துச்சு. ஸோ வி வென்ட் தேர், அண்ட் அந்த ஹாஸ்பிட்டலில் வி ஹேட் கிவன் பயாப்சி ரிசல்ட்ஸ்க்கு டிஷ்யூ. அது பார்த்தா ஒரு இன்டெஃபினைட் ரிசல்ட்ஸ் கொடுத்தாங்க. லைக் வி வெயிட்டட் 4 days ஃபார் தட் பயாப்சி ரிசல்ட்ஸ், அண்ட் த ரிசல்ட் வாஸ் நாட் தேர் ஆன் த பேப்பர். தேர் வாஸ் நத்திங், அண்ட் வி காட் சூப்பர் பிஸ்ட் ஆஃப். இது வந்து புவனேஸ்வரில் நடந்தது. தென் இன் ரெலா what they suggested is that, of course, stage 4. They said that, I think I talked to a few doctor friends by then, and Reddit dhaan guys. I fully got all the knowledge that I needed on Reddit. Reddit has an amazing community for cancer, for palliative care, for hospice, for everything, for colorectal cancer, for chemotherapy. So இது எல்லாமே I was reading for the last 6 months to get to understand what my dad, in which state my dad is and with what can happen. Thank God for Reddit because இது எல்லாமே people telling their own stories and it felt like believable stories, and also whatever the results gonna be for the next 6 months, I was able to mentally be prepared because I knew what would happen. இந்த ஸ்டேஜ்லேருந்து என்ன நடக்கும், மக்களுக்கு என்ன நடந்திருக்கு அப்படின்னு I could find out, like I could be prepared. So at Rela they also, so the doctor said that let's do a stent, colonoscopic stent. So stent is basically where they put a metal mesh madri. ஸோ த கோலான் ஹேஸ் நாட் கம்ப்ளீட்லி க்ளோஸில் கொஞ்சம் ஓப்பனாக இருக்குல்ல. ஸோ இந்த ஸ்டென்ட் போட்டு கொஞ்சம் இப்படி ஓப்பன் அப் பண்ணிடலாம். ஸோ தட் கோலான் ஓப்பன்ஸ் அப். நம்ம எதுவும் இப்போ ஆப்ரேட் பண்ணோன்னா பிகாஸ் the cancer spread so much, operating won't be the ideal thing to do. So we agreed because we knew that this is better. Like we thought that we'll get chemotherapy done and by chance the tumor size reduce achna, then we'll think about operation or something like that. But at this point it felt like it was very dangerous to open up the body and see whether, like, take out the cancer because it had spread. So எல்லா இடத்துலையும் கொஞ்சம் குறைஞ்சதுன்னா அது ஏதோ இருந்துச்சு, and this was stage 4. So they decided to put a stent, which was a non-invasive procedure. எப்படி colonoscopy பண்ணுற மாதிரி அது உள்ள stent விட்டுட்டு they would like put it. So that was the first procedure that was done. அப்படியே அதுலேருந்து கொஞ்சம் டிஷ்யூ எடுத்து பயோப்சி கொடுத்துடலான்னு. சாரி, ஃபர்ஸ்ட் டே பயோப்சி இது பண்ண பிறகு தான் இந்த ஸ்டென்ட் போட்டாங்க. ஸோ பயோப்சி ரிசல்ட்ஸ் ரெலால அடுத்த நாளே கிடச்சிச்சு. கூடோஸ் டு தெம் ஃபார் தேட். பட் யா, ஐம் ஜஸ்ட் சேயிங் இஃப் யூ குட் யூ வுட், அந்த மாதிரி ஒரு சுச்சுவேஷன் தான் இருந்துச்சு. And with this happened and stent procedure happened. The stent procedure was the only procedure that dad went through. The doctor called me inside while they did the stent procedure and they showed me how they placed the stent எப்படி இருக்குன்னு. Shout out to Dr. Prahlad. I think he was the person who did the stent procedure. Very nice doctor. That happened. I think the doctors at Rela, 90% of the doctors were amazing. The way they treated us, the family and the patient, was laudable. So in the Dr. Prahlad sir, he was very my dad doesn't know Tamil, so the doctor also knew Hindi. My dad also knew Hindi, so they could talk, and very friendly person. But my dad's primary doctor was Dr. Gopi. He is a radiation oncologist in the hospital. I would say he's a gem of a man. Ivlo chaos lende we came from Bhubaneswar, and I don't know, by anga avlo doctor no enga ana en Gopi sir vandu, I mean, he got an appointment in எனக்கு தெரியல. But the way he handled us, the way he handled my dad, we needed that on the very first day. He asked my dad whether he wanted to know the diagnosis or he can just tell it to his kids. My dad was like, no, I don't want to know. And my dad was like, I'm in so much pain. He will be like, okay, you rest. He'll be like, you just sleep there, I'll talk to them. So calm, so understanding, and there is a very nice aura about him which makes you feel like you're being taken care of. We are young. I'm 30, my brother's 32, and this was the first major illness we saw in our family. My dad and mom are relatively fine. We're relatively fine before that. அதுக்கு முன்னாடி நாங்கள் பெருசாக அவங்களுக்காக ஹாஸ்பிட்டலே போக வேண்டான்ற நிலமையில தான் இருந்தோம். லைக் நெவர், ஒன்லி பிளட் டெஸ்ட்க்கு மட்டும் தான் போனோம். லைக் மந்த்லி இயர்லி ஹெல்த் செக்கப் மட்டும் தான் போயிருக்கோம். ஸோ யா, so the way he treated us, I seriously like the way, the amount of empathy he had for us, and the way he said that, okay, let's first make dad comfortable. That was a point. Like stage 4 cancer vanda pirgu, even the doctors know. I'm just saying this in hindsight, that இது எந்த அளவுக்கு சில cancers are actually treatable from stage 4. I think இதெல்லாம் வந்து டாக்டர்ஸ் தான் பெட்டராக சொல்லுவாங்க. I'm just telling you what I read on the internet. But yeah, but some cancers, they know how it's gonna end. But what they'll do is they'll try to keep the patient's life as comfortable as possible. That's what palliative care is. So that is what was done for my dad. The stent procedure was for that, so that he can actually poop like a normal human being. He can feel like a normal human being. Stoma pota, he will know that he's a patient. Like it's a bag, you'll have to poop into it. So let's do the stent. The stent procedure also comes with its own negatives because the stent can move, it can prick into the tumor. There is a lot of things that can happen. But yeah, it was good actually. Stent didn't do anything to my dad. So the doctors knew out of their experience, but every body is different, every person is different, and everybody's body reacts very differently to a lot of situations. Nariya perku, like they'll heal from the worst of things, and some people will have the smallest of things and they'll die. So yeah, human body works in mysterious ways. So after that, my dad was suggested 6 months of chemotherapy. Chemotherapy was hard. Chemotherapy is when they give you chemicals to kill the cancer cells, which can also affect the growing cells in our own body. So basically, your hair or all the cells where cells are actively growing, it can affect it. எப்படின்னா கீமோதெரப்பி எங்களுக்கு அப்பாவுக்கு வந்து 21 day cycle இருந்துச்சு. ஸோ ஒரு 2 weeks chemo. I mean 2 weeks chemotherapy, like 1 day chemo, he'll get an IV. He'll come back 2 weeks tablets இருக்கும், 1 week rest. 1 week rest was the best time of his life. The 2 weeks chemo was like he had a lot of symptoms again: diarrhea, constipation, vomiting. First, initially he was doing well. He was actually walking and அதெல்லாம் பண்ணிட்டு இருந்தாரு. By the third chemo, he had this feeling, sensation of vomiting. My dad actually அவருக்கு நான்வெஜ்னா ரொம்ப பிடிக்கும். He had quit it for the last 20 years. Final daysல, like he loves fish, so he was able to eat fish for I think 1 month or so. We are very grateful for that because he could at least eat something he really loved. So yeah, what I was saying is first, second chemo he was fine. Third chemo வரும்போது he had a lot of pain on his back. We again CT பண்ணி they found that the cancer spread his bone. So radiation கொடுத்தாங்க. So radiation is like every day you have to go and they'll directly give you radiation on the spot of the cancer to dissolve it. Again நான் layman termsல பேசுகிறேன். Yeah, first radiation was here actually, இந்த இடத்துல in his back. Second radiation வந்து in his hip and in his skull. So ரெண்டு இடத்துலையும் ஒரே டைமில் கொடுக்கறதுனால even the radiation guy, I don't remember his name, but even that doctor my dad loved. In the second radiation and fifth, I think he could take 4 chemos. Apro fifth chemo appo it had spread to the bone and he had to take radiation though, so they paused, and the fifth chemo pause பண்ணிட்டாங்க. And the radiation had so much side effect on his body. His body was already done with all the chemotherapy and or radiation. So when this happened, double radiation, he got bloating. So his entire stomach got bloated up 3-4 days. Like it kept bloating. At a point he was not fine, like he had breathing problems. Then we admitted him to the hospital. Then so again I had read everything about this. I know they'll put an NG tube. So he had 5 liters of fluid in his stomach, and first few times he just puked adellame. We collected it in a dabba and threw it in the wash basin. அந்த மாதிரி அதுவே ஒரு 2 லிட்டர் வந்திருக்கும்னு நினைக்கிறேன். அப்புறம் at a point they were like he is puking so much. He was able to walk, like இதெல்லாம் பண்ணும்போது he was able to walk, but then the final they put one tube inside his nose so that they can drain out all the liquid from the stomach so that the bloating can stop. So இது வந்து was the first time we admitted him to the hospital. They took all the fluids out. அவ்வளோ fluids இருந்துச்சு. We couldn't imagine how much our body can accumulate fluids. அவ்வளோ fluids இருந்துச்சு. And then we kept him in observation. சாப்பாடு எல்லாம் எதுவும் போகாது. So only fluids will go in. சாப்பாடு was going through IV and they were given nutrition through IV. So the point was his entire colon la நிறைய blood clots வந்துச்சு. So if at all his colon was resting, it will, like outside the colon there was blood clots which was closing the colon. So if he could rest, if the colon கொஞ்ச நாள் ரெஸ்ட்ல விட்டா the colon will slowly open up. So basically he was not able to fart or எந்த கேஸும் பாஸ் ஆகல. So that was when my dad was first admitted to the hospital. I think 1 week or 10 days இருந்தாரு. in the hospital, and he was able to fart in the final days um, of their first visit to the hospital. So, and then at that time was when I went to Bhubaneswar because our house was locked for 6 months and the rainy season was there. Either damage and paaka. The point was we were still hopeful that in September things will be fine and sixth chemotherapy முடிச்சுட்டு வீட்டுக்கு போகலான்னு. So that's why I went and checked the house. My dad was like, go see, you have to go see. At that time I felt super sick. 3 days of insane fever and headache. But yeah, எப்படியோ மேனேஜ் பண்ணி கொஞ்சம் வீடை பார்த்துட்டு வந்துட்டேன். So when I came back, what happened was my dad was discharged பண்ணி வீட்டுக்கு கொண்டு வந்துட்டோம். 1 week nurse இருந்தாங்க. So for the nurse service, I think we used Max Health. அது இருக்குன்னு நினைக்கிறேன். So I think you can check it out if you're looking for in-home nurses. The nurses were pretty great, but yeah, of course, best experienced nurses வருவாங்களான்னு I'm like, they did this job well. They could have done much better. There were some here and there mistakes, but yeah. But they were good people. Male nurse தான் வந்தாங்க 2 பேர் actually. So this is the first time ஒரு nurse வந்தார். ஸோ டேட் வந்து ஐவியில் தான் இருந்தார். 1 week இருந்தார் வீட்டில். அண்ட் அவ்வளோ லைக் the entire process like was so, I don't know எப்படி இந்த 6 months போச்சுன்னு. I don't know. It feels like a blur right now, but at that moment, at that point, அங்கே டெய்லி ஃபேஸ் பண்ணுறது was so hard. And it's not about hard also. எனக்கு என்னென்னா I couldn't see my dad in pain. He was always a happy guy. அந்த colonoscopy Stent procedure முடிச்சுட்டு வந்தோம். நாங்களாம் மூஞ்சி சோகமாக வச்சுருக்கோன்னா அவர் பாட்டுன்னு ஹாப்பியாக ஏதோ ஜோக் பண்ணுறாரு அவர். ஸோ அந்த மாதிரி ஒரு பர்சனை இப்படி என்னால் பார்க்கவே முடியல. ஸோ ஸோ அந்த டைம் வந்தப்போ வீட்டில் ஐ திங்க் 1 week இருந்தார். அண்ட் ஐ திங்க் ஒரு சாட்டர்டே, ஐ திங்க் அவர் டிஸ்சார்ஜ் ஆகி வந்தது ஒரு சாட்டர்டே தான். அடுத்த சாட்டர்டே ஹி வாஸ் லைக், எனக்கு செஸ்ட்டில் மூச்சு விட முடியிற மாதிரி இல்லை, ஐ மீன் ஐம் ஹேவிங் டிஃபிகல்ட்டி ப்ரீதிங் அப்படின்னு. சரி, மறுபடியும் we took him to the hospital. I think again he was there for 10 days. That's when the doctor said that I think we admitted him on Saturday. Our doctors said on Monday that his body has stopped taking nutrition, like it's not taking in because there are so many multiple clots in his body. He's terminal at this point, like even 1 week or 2 weeks max. He'll, I think he said few days. I think your dad will like, I think he's in that stage of life because they were trying to keep him pain free. They were trying to give him, he wouldn't, அவரால் நைட்டு தூங்கவும் முடியாது because he was in so much pain. In the hospital he was pretty pain free and his breathing had changed completely. And then even the nutrition, ஒரு பாயிண்ட்டுக்கு மேலே his body had stopped taking it, like entire digestive system had shut down. So that was the point, like all the other organs were functioning, but the main colon thing was like not functioning at all. So that is where all the nutritional absorption happens there. So they were like, this is not happening. So 2-3 days dad hospital தான் இருந்தார். Thursday they were like, we can't treat him anymore, we are not treating him anymore, so hospitals வைக்கிறது is not a solution, you can just take him home அப்படின்னு. The point is, this is called as hospice. அந்த வேர்ட்ஸ்லாம் யாரும் நம்ம ஊரில் யூஸும் பண்ண மாட்டாங்க. பட் ஐ திங்க் ஐ ஃபீல் லைக் hospitals or doctors can treat patients in a way that they are educated. அது அப்படியே சொல்லிட்டு விட்டுடுறாங்க. ஸோ எனிவே, திஸ் வாஸ் ஹாஸ்பைஸ். ஐ திங்க் நான் வந்து the first time எங்கள் அப்பா அட்மிட் ஆகும்போதே I knew that it was gonna go bad from then. I was mentally getting prepared. He was prescribed enough painkillers to like not make it a painful ending. Blood thinners so that blood clot எங்கேயோ ட்ராவல் பண்ணி ஹார்ட் அட்டாக் வந்துடக்கூடாதுன்னு சொல்லி was discharged from the hospital again. And then again we had another nurse who used to like give him painkillers and time. ஃபுல்லாக ஐவியில் தான் இருந்தார் எங்கள் அப்பா லாஸ்ட் வரைக்கும். He had the NG tube also to like drain out all the liquid that his stomach was forming. He had a catheter so that like there was no food, so no motion was being passed, but he had a catheter where all the urine was being taken out. எங்கள் அப்பா எப்படி இருந்த அப்பாவை கடைசியாக வந்து தான் ஒரு குழந்தையாக தான் பார்த்தோம். He was just wearing diapers and yeah, I mean அதுதான் அப்படி இருந்த பேஷண்ட்டை இப்படி பார்க்குறது வந்து was the most heart gut wrenching. And the கடைசி days when the doctor said that that's it, his end has come. Every mooch we have to see whether is it the last breath, and that is the most worst part about all this. When he was in the hospital, like and the doctors only or 3-4 days in the hospital he was actually very bad. Like his situation, his breathing had completely changed. Everything felt like things எது வேணால் நடக்கலாம், இப்போ என்ன வேணால் நடக்கலாம் இப்போன்னு. But once he discharged and brought him home, I think he survived 10 more days without nutrition. And yeah, at home he was so happy. Entire week எப்போவுமே நானும் எங்கள் அண்ணனும் கண்ணு முன்னாடியே இருக்கணும்னு நினைப்பாரு. The bunch of relatives, they all came so that they stayed and like they were a huge help for us. சாப்பாடுலாம் சமைச்சு போட்டாங்க. And at least he liked having people around. He was very funny. He was recalling a lot of stuff. He was singing. He was like doing this. He was bedridden, so he was doing this and all. He was dancing, and I think yeah, he tried to keep us smiling every day, every night. Night he won't sleep. ஏன்னா வந்து தூங்கினா கண்ணு மூடினா ஏதாவது ஆகிடுமோன்னு எனக்கு பயமாக இருந்துச்சு போல். He won't sleep. And he'll keep calling எங்க சுபாயங்க சுபாயங்க சுபாயங்க, அம்மா கொஞ்சம் தூங்கிட்டு வரட்டும் அப்படின்வாங்க. காலிலேருந்து அவள் சாயங்காலம் வரைக்கும் இங்கே தான் இருப்பான்னு. ஸோ yeah, I think the final week was like அவர் பெயின்லேயும் இருந்தார். லைக் there was some little pain somewhere but not extreme pain. Yeah, my dad has very low tolerance of pain. அவருக்கு அதான் அவர் பெருசாக பெயினும் பார்த்ததில்ல லைஃப்பில். சில பேர்லாம் இடுப்பலி அப்படின்னு சொல்லி லைஃப் ஃபுல்லாக வாழ்ந்துருவாங்க. ஸோ they know இடுப்பலி எப்படி சர்வைவ் பண்ணுறதுன்னு. பட் some people have very less tolerance for pain. My dad was one of them. So yeah, the final few days it was like that. Every night, every morning நாளைக்கு என்ன நடக்கும் அப்படின்னு எங்களுக்கு ஒரு இதுவாக இருக்கும். எங்கள் அம்மா was through with him day and night, everybody every day. And then on a Saturday morning, me and my mother were sitting right next to him, and he was a bit restless at that time. அப்புறம் yeah, with 2 breaths he passed away. At that point we felt like the pain, he was in so much pain that we felt like okay, please just peacefully pass away so that இதுக்கு மேலே நீங்கள் அந்த பெயினை ஃபீட் பண்ண வேணான்னு. So that is how it was. Then we took dad to Puri. In ambulance service தான் யூஸ் பண்ணோம். We thought we'll take by a flight, but a lot of certifications தேவைப்பட்டிருக்கும். It would have taken 24 hours, so we decided to just take him via land. We used an ambulance service. Me and my parents, my mom, my brother Vignesh, my cousin, எல்லாரும் we flew. I think I met one of you on that day. Yeah, we flew back, and my dad reached the next day, and that is where we did his cremation. அங்கே வந்து we did it in a very holy place, considered place in Odisha. So that's what happened. So yeah, like the final few days, his doctor, Dr. Gopi, he was checking in constantly. So that felt like somebody is there who is also like, I feel like all of us are very young and we don't have any support from the elders of our family. My dad was the eldest son, so அவங்க அம்மா அப்பா இருக்காங்க, and they are good people, but they didn't know how to offer support, and we felt like we're not supported enough. And somehow the doctor, he made us feel like we were somewhere supported. So he kept checking in, which was very sweet of him. So yeah, that was my dad's story. If you guys have any doubts, just ask me in the comments. I'll try to be as helpful as I can. Yeah, through all this, எனக்கு hemorrhoids இருக்கு. Of course, once somebody in the family gets cancer, that means uh, the kids are prone to get cancer. Yeah, அந்த ஃபியர் வந்துச்சு நடுவில் நம்மளுக்கு ஏதாச்சும் ஆகிடுமா அப்படின்னு சொல்லி. I have a very nice doctor. I'm actually taking homeopathy treatment for my hemorrhoids, and she is a very sweet woman. She was my therapist during this entire 6 months. Like I could just go. I went to her and talked to her for 2 hours straight, I think, and she was very nice. I needed that. It is very custom for the people around you. Like I had எனக்கு கூட கொஞ்சம் எஸ்கேப் இருந்துச்சு, எங்கள் அண்ணன் கூட கொஞ்சம் எஸ்கேப் இருந்தது. மை மாம் ஹேட் டு பி தேர் ஃபார் 6 months வித் டேட் அண்ட் டேக் கேர் ஆஃப் ஆல் திஸ். ஸோ இட் வாஸ் வெரி டிஃபிகல்ட். அதில் ஒர்க் பண்ணுறது, வீட்டில் இப்படி நடக்கும்போது அந்த மைண்ட் செட்லேருந்து வெளில வந்து ஒர்க் பண்ணுறது எல்லாமே வாஸ் வெரி டிஃபிகல்ட். பட் somehow we managed through. Today my mom is actually in Bhubaneswar, and me and my brother keep traveling there so that somebody can keep her company, and my cousin is also with her. I feel like she also needs some space, some break from all this, and Bhubaneswar house would be that for her. Yeah, that is what I wanted to say, that how colon cancer, இது எதுக்கு இந்த வீடியோ நான் வந்து கொலான் கேன்சர் வந்து என்ன சொல்கிறாங்கன்னா 50 இயர்ஸ்க்கு மேலே ஸ்க்ரீனிங் ஆரம்பிச்சிருங்க. லைக் இந்த கொலனோஸ்கோபி போய் 5 years ஒன்ஸ் பண்ணுங்கள். இப்போ ஐ திங்க் தேவ் லோவர்ட் இட் டு 45 years இஃப் யூ ஃபேமிலியில் கொலான் கேன்சர் வந்து ஆல்ரெடி இருக்குது ஹிஸ்ட்ரினா 45 yearsலேயே ஒரு தடவை போய் வந்து கொலனோஸ்கோபி பண்ணுங்கள். ஸோ தட் குட்டி குட்டியாக பாலிப் எது இருந்ததுன்னா அதை எடுத்து அப்போவே நம்ம ஸ்டாப் பண்ணிடலாம். ஸோ தட் இட் டசன்ட் க்ரோ கேன்சரஸ். So that is why if your family, of your parents, or like ஏதோ சின்ன ஸ்டமக் இஷ்யூ என்ன சொல்கிறாங்கன்னா டாக்டர்ஸ், திஸ் கேன்சர் would have taken 5 to 10 years to like reach this stage. It's not like it's something that happened overnight or 3 months 4 months முன்னாடி இருந்தால் வேறு ஸ்டேஜில் இருந்திருப்பீங்க அப்படின்னு இல்லை. So yeah, so that's it guys. If your parent is even showing any in the mari wire based symptoms, it's okay to get a colonoscopy done. Tell them that it's not that difficult. And every time enga appa colonoscopy பண்ணும்போது now the only question I ask is, was it difficult, was it painful? He was like, it was a little bit uneasy but it was not that difficult. And they give you this enema which like clears out your tummy and everything. So going through the anus is easier and the madri. But yeah, prevention is better than cure, adan nenipen. So I think that's why I made this video. Like it can be as simple as continuous diarrhea for a few months, and it can be stage 4 cancer. That is it guys. That is what I wanted to share. I wanted you all to know what was happening in my life for the last 6 months, and also a lot of things. If you have any queries, just ask me in the comments. I'll answer it for sure. And yeah, that is it. I hope this was somewhere informative, somewhere something for all of you. Okay, see you soon in another vlog. Till then, this is Subha saying, stay awesome, stay cool, spread love, spread happiness, and believe in yourself. And ta-ta.